All right, let's get this party started. Let's see if you like this intro. This is a new intro from one of the lead heads. They made this.
Welcome to Season 6 of the Talking Lead AK KORNER, presented by Pioneer Arms Corp USA.
AK Corner, as you saw, presented by Pioneer Arms Corp USA. And we have our crew joining us this episode, all the way from Michigan, not in studio this time. We're doing it through the StreamYard, is our historian, our former Spetsnaz soldier, the know-it-all of AKs and anything related to it, and motorcycles and you name it, he knows it. Marco Vorobiev. Ladies and gentlemen. Bow, bow.
Hey, everyone. Nice to be here again.
It's nice to have you again, and it's great that you have new equipment. So Marco is professional. You know, he's up to his game. He's professional now. He's got a microphone. He's got a headset. He's even got lighting. So he's stepping his game up for you lead heads.
I refuse to acknowledge the title of professional. This usually comes with all kinds of other crap.
It has other connotations to it. That's right. And then all the way from Port Orange, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, it is our good buddy, author, another badass soldier, drives tanks, known to drive a tank here and there. We should do an episode on tanks, too, because you guys both know a lot about tanks. I think that would be a good episode, too. CJ Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm here. Who's that other guy you're talking about? Because I'm just by myself today. I don't have that badass guy here. Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't make it.
It's probably good that you keep him bottled up from time to time.
CJ brought a more gentler and a nicer version of himself today.
There you go. I like that. So if you guys haven't listened to the previous episode of the Talking Lead AK Corner, make sure you go back, because that's when I went down and visited Pioneer Arms USA. CJ, Marco came down and we did a road trip. All said about 19-hour road trip there and back. And I got to hear some awesome stories. I mean, you would think being cooped up with somebody for 18 hours would just be, make you pull your hair out, which Marco probably did with me. But I got some great stories, guys. I wish I'd have recorded them, Marco. Should have had my recorder on.
But I tell you what, as a product of this trip, the road trip we took, I have to say in my... I don't know how many years I've been involved in firearm industries and doing the television shows and everything. We probably made the most badass video ever. So courtesy of CJ in history of video making.
Yeah, we got some good content, and I've been cranking it out on the social medias. So you guys be watching our Instagram post. I've been putting some stuff on Rumble. So check Rumble out. But check that episode out, because we talked about the history of the PPS-43. And it was very interesting. And it's kind of what got us into the topic for today. In addition to a lot of requests from you listeners, we're going to be talking about AK magazines. We're going to talk about the history, the different types, different countries, variations. And then give some opinions on what we think are good mags and maybe not so good mags. I'll just put that nicely as well. But before we get into the history, we want to talk about, I know you guys are chomping at the bits, the giveaway that we've got for June coming up for that GROM 762 with the RPK stock from Pioneer Arms. CJ, you want to talk a little bit about the GROM, the 762?
Basically what the 762 is everybody was going with the braces for the hell pups. wanting to know more about braces and stuff. And we kind of didn't do the back setup on them so that people could have bolt-on braces on them. We did basically the brace would have to slide underneath the pistol grip, and everybody was wanting kind of the more tactical looking rifle and stuff. And so we went and we took the GROMs, and this isn't the one we're going to give away. We're actually going to let you do a configuration on whatever type of GROM that you want to get. But this is your basic help up from here to here. What we did is we put this particular one has an underfolder. They come in straight stock or collapsible stock or underfolder, so you can get one. And we also have a side folder, so you get them in any variation. And we basically did a fro presser here so that you could add on, and it's pinned and welded, so you could actually have this, your short barrel help up, and you have this faux presser on it, which basically makes it a rifle link. So you could put the stock on it. This particular one has our
ATF bullshit of a 16-inch barrel rifle.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. And then we have our rail across the top that we have set up here on it that replaces the rear sight for you to be able to run your red dot or whatever that you want on it. So we have one that we're going to be doing on our next giveaway. We're actually going to have the Talking Lead logo engraved on it. So you'll have your logo engraved on it. And it'll be the one of one. There won't be another Talking Lead in that model ever made. So you'll have the only one with that stuff engraved on it. But it's a pretty neat rifle. We're having a hard time with production right now because production has skyrocketed on them, where we were doing, 10 or 20 or something like that a week. I'm doing about 400 a week now. And as you guys know, we're small. So that's a lot of work because we actually do the cutting of the faux presser and everything on it. As Pioneer Arms, we do absolutely everything in-house. We make from springs to polymer to wood. So we don't have any outsourced vendors other than raw material. So it's taken us a little bit of time to get this stuff done on these GROMs and stuff. And they were named after the Polish Special Forces GROM on that. It's a unique gun. We did that. This is a glow-in-the-dark patch that comes with the rifle, also Velcro on the back for you to be able to use. Marty, did in case I have to pop off here, did you want to talk about giveaways or anything that we're doing for this episode?
Yeah, we're getting into that. I wanted you to talk a little bit about the giveaway that we've got coming up in June, and we're going to give you the rules on what you're going to have to do to win that later on in the episode. So stay tuned for that. But yes, this episode we've got some giveaways. As usual, Seal 1, we're going to give away a Seal 1 complete gun care kit from our friends over at Seal 1 and Done. Use the code LEADHEAD, get 25% off seal1.com. And then for Mission First Tactical, I had a tray here, but I've misplaced it. We're going to do one of our Talking Lead dump trays from Mission First Tactical that's going to have the new Pioneer Arms Season 6 AK Corner logo on it. We'll have that for you lucky leadhead. And Pioneer Arms for this episode has a shirt, hat, and patch combo swag pack, and
we're so we have the Pioneer hat, and it's good quality hat, Velcro, good thick material, almost like the same Carhartt material. We're going to give you 2 patches to go with that. We have our kick-ass Pioneer shirt. This is our worker shirt. We might start selling them. I don't know. Got the little red AK on it, and it's got something near and dear to Marty's heart on the back.
Wolverines.
The actual part of the logo there that he uses on his site there. So we have that also. And I've also, since we're talking about magazines, I'm also going to give away this really cool 22 magazine.
Awesome. So that'll be your starter for your AK 22 that they make.
I don't know, Marco, should I? I mean,
Sure,
if I give
of
them
course,
if I give them a magazine, they've almost got to have a gun for it, right?
absolutely, absolutely. They have to
That'll give them incentive to go
match
and
a
buy
gun
one.
to.
Hmm.
You have to
Right.
match a gun to the magazine.
I don't know. I have this underfolder setting here, 22 caliber Grom.
What?
Let's set it
What?
here on it. I have this little fella right here.
Oh my
Let's
God!
just give this away today, Marty.
Yeah, you got to be.
Holy moly!
So you're going to give away that 22 underfolder Grom right there.
Yeah, it's about $800, but yeah, why not?
Oh my gosh, that is
I have
amazing.
to say, I gotta say something. I mean, I've seen my fair share of 22 AKs trainers. I never once seen an underfolder, and not only underfolder, it's a shorty. Looks tactical.
Yeah, it's got the
Awesome.
rail system on it and everything, man. That is beautiful. I didn't know you were doing 22s with that configuration. That is awesome.
Yeah, so we'll do a hat, a t-shirt, and a 22 Grom today.
But with the magazine.
Yeah, we're gonna throw in another magazine, so you'll have these many magazines.
2 dose because it's a 22. You got to have 2, right?
2, yep.
Very cool. I haven't. I got notice that mine came in. I haven't had an opportunity to go pick it up yet. So when we get done with this today, I'm going to go pick up mine. I'm making a trip to Texas next week. Going to go see our good buddy Ton Jones with Firebird Targets, and I'm going to take the 22. I'm going to take that 20-inch, which I don't have it. It's right here with the RPK stock. I'm going to take this down there. We're going to shoot that, and Ton is going to do the Kablooey Challenge. We don't know which firearm he's going to use yet, but the Kablooey Challenge that we challenged him to a few episodes back, to where we're going to set up back-to-back Firebird targets. We're going to set up about 20, I think, and then we're going to take bets from you lead heads on how many of those that he can actually explode with one shot. So that's going to be pretty cool. We'll probably do that live.
7.
You guessing 7?
It's always 7.
I'd say 3.
3.
7.
I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna go down and test it out, and then we'll do it live. We'll do it on the Rumble Live when we do it, so you guys can tune in. But we'll give you plenty of notice for that. That'll be coming up as you're listening to this episode. It'll be this week as you're listening to this episode, because this will be the 15th when this gets dropped. So something to look forward to.
Whiskey River Beef, farm to table with a twist. Come along with us on a quest towards achieving self-sufficiency in food production and fostering a robust local food source to promote good health. Stock up with premium Tennessee beef, unparalleled in flavor and tenderness. You can be confident that you're receiving beef with no added growth hormones or implants. Always pasture-raised, locally USDA processed, and shipped straight to your home. Whiskey River Beef is grass and whiskey mash fed and finished, and is at least 14 days dry aged to enhance the tenderness and give you the most robust flavor imaginable. Go to whiskeyriverbeef.com today to order. Visit us on Instagram at Whiskey River Life and on Facebook at Whiskey River Beef LLC. Whiskey River Beef is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade.
Hey, Marco, aren't
Yes,
you
sir.
doing a training class in Ann Arbor right now, where you're doing some instruction up there?
I do in 2 places, in Ann Arbor and then up in Utica, which is north of Detroit.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go up there and get some guys to go up there and get some training. The feedback that I'm getting from some of the people is like, you're the A1 AK trainer, in the Ohio Valley. So how do people find out about your classes and stuff?
I guess they can either go onto Ann Arbor Arms website, AnnArborArms.com, or they can contact me through AppTech LLC at hotmail.com, and and then I'll tell them all about it.
Is it AnnArborArms.com is the website you said?
Yeah, they just working. They finished up with their current schedule. They just working up on their new one for classes. That would include some of the summer times, summer months, and so it should be up early, shortly.
Okay,
And
you'll
then,
think it's up. I'm on their website right now. I've got it pulled up there for our viewing audience.
Yeah, my
is this the
classes. Yeah, they're gonna be like within a week. They're gonna have a bunch of AK classes as well. There.
To think about having it on your criteria, on your be able to flex, Marty, that not only did you get to go to an AK class taught by a Russian, but by a Spetsnaz Russian, a combat wounded, and I'm talking about not one of them, which both sides of the war that's going on now. I mean, they're being soldiers. Me and Marco both understand, that we think that we're doing right, regardless of what our governments are doing. The soldiers are doing the right thing out there. But, Marco was wounded in Afghanistan. So we got shot by the same people in pretty much the same part of the world in 2 different decades. But to be trained by an actual Spetsnaz when the Russians were at their height of their military training and their military might, and to have one of those to go through a class and to be trained, I mean, wow, I mean that's pretty awesome, Marco. I'm glad that you're doing that. I mean, this is an opportunity that people in the U.S. I mean, there's a lot of so-called trainers out there, and I won't mention any Polish guys' names or anything else. But I mean, you're kind of the pivotal guy as far as learning AKs. I had an AK question for him. It's actually an RPK question I had to call and ask him the other day myself, Marty. So
he's the go-to. He's the encyclopedia of all.
He's the guy. He is definitely the guy.
I mean, Marco knows his stuff on everything. So
I know that nobody can see us right now, but I'll say that I'm turning bright red over here.
I can see, and you're actually not. Your GIMP suit back there is red.
Marco's got his Halloween costume hanging up behind him there.
But seriously, though, I mean, a lot of trainers offer carbine courses and stuff, and sometimes AK specific courses. And I just witnessed some few years back, and here's my conclusion: that if God forbid something happens, we get invaded, we can field a huge army of SWAT operators to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, stand up, stand there like a freaking permanent target while recharging your gun or, reloading your gun, moving the Michigan marching band type of movement and so on and so on. It's something like you got a perp somewhere in the house, and then you advancing on them like out of 15 police cruisers. So the things the skills that I try to, and once again, you don't become a fast operator from just taking a class. What you do is you learn a skill, and then you have to practice it. And the skills that I teach is it's a little bit more practical. Let's put that.
So when do these classes start?
We're gonna start. The first one is right before Memorial Day weekend, and then they run up until beginning of April. The last class we had was on April 4th.
Okay. And I know I've had a few emails about this, and Leadhead asking, are we still planning to do a Marco experience?
Of course, absolutely. Just we need to figure out the logistics and kind of build up an infrastructure for this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, but we're definitely going to offer it. I mean, I don't know if people see behind me, there's a safe right there. It's got a lot of interesting things in it. I got
what's the combo?
What's that?
I said, what's the combo
For the safe?
7.
19. And then also, CJ, we're talking about doing a listener appreciation kind of range day event down there at Big 3 East. We're still, again, we got to get the logistics and get all that put together. What's the ideal month, that kind of stuff. So, we're 4 months.
I can tell you what's not the ideal month. Anywhere from June to August is not the ideal month, because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of people come from up north down to it, and from a couple of different spots. And when I say the deep South, I mean, we're almost where Brownsville, Texas is. So we're deep South. So we're deep South in it. So it's pretty hot there in this time period. I mean, we could work it out. Probably the ideal time period would be sometime in early September. That we could get something set up like that. And, who knows? Maybe we could do a combination Marco experience down here where they could do a Marco experience, and then we could do our listener appreciation shoot. I'm pretty sure we could come up with something interesting, like shooting an RPK T or a PKM T from a moving vehicle, or
kind of like I did.
Something like that. Yeah, I think we can do some stuff that way. Maybe even get Marco to drive for you if he doesn't get scared and pee his pants a little.
Afraid to hit that gas. I think he was just concerned about you, CJ.
He's always concerned about me.
He was concerned about you. So there's our upcoming events, Leadheads. Be watching, be listening for updates. But yeah, I think September. I think you're right. September is probably going to be ideal. That gives us plenty of time between now and then to get something put together. And then, of course, the weather. That would be better for the weather, September. All right. Very good. So things coming, things to look forward to. And I'm still stunned about the 22 that we're giving away today. The Pioneer Arms USA 22 GROM. I mean, is that like one of one, that GROM you've got there, that 22? Or you got several?
It will be one of one after we put the lead head on it.
After you do your thing. Yeah. But like Marco said, he's never seen an underfolder 22 before. That's the first time.
I think it might be one of the pearls and one of the jams in the lineup, in Pioneer Arms lineup.
I like it.
Wait until you see what we got coming next week.
Next week? Is that going to be the puppy? Talked about it.
We have the hell puppy will be here next week.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait for that. That's going to be so.
It is shorter than the mini Draco.
Oh my god.
How cool is that?
So it would be a mini Draco.
A mini? A double mini?
Yep.
Would that be a micro?
It'd be a hell puppy. It's a puppy. Yeah. It's a little feller, little puppy feller.
Is it going to come with its own little special patch?
It is. I have that own little special patch here that I just showed you. We're in development of right now. See if you can get that up there. The hell puppy.
There he is.
With a little P on his chest.
Yeah. I dig it. All right, guys. Well, there it is. Things to look forward to. That ought to get you fired up. Want to participate?
Also, Marty, before you forget, they need to come to Dallas and come to our booth. And you're going to be You're going to be set up in our booth.
That's right. NRA. I mentioned this last episode, the episode I did with Ton. We are going to be at the Pioneer Arms USA booth. I wrote it down. It's 11 something.
It's like 11531.
11531.
Yeah, 11531. Yeah.
NRA, you guys come to Dallas, check us out. CJ's going to have shirts and hats and patches there for you guys to buy. I'm going to be giving away these awesome little bottle openers that Leadhead Corey Brown made for us. He's got the different logos on our bottle openers here. He's got the AK Corner. He's got the Leadhead Brigade. He's got our new Talking Lead logo on those. We'll be giving that away.
I'm going to give away a new rifle every day. I'm sorry, did I say rifle? I'm going to be giving away a rifle and a hell puppy away.
Oh my gosh! So
Yeah,
if
so
you weren't
we
planning
got.
on coming, you need to come to NRA Dallas. Make the trip, and they have to be there to win, right?
Yeah, you got to be there. You got to be there when we drew the drawing to win. But we're going to do a hell puppy. I'm going to do a PM63, Marty.
A PM63. No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so I'm gonna officially I'm not coming to NRA, but wink, wink. I'm gonna bring the disguises and shit and go in as a regular guy just so I can participate in the giveaways.
There you go. Hell yeah.
So we're going to do a hell puppy. We're going to do 2 PM63s and a hell puppy. There we go.
PM63s and a hell puppy. That's all 3 days of NRA
Yep.
in
So
Dallas.
we may do the hell puppy in the middle, or we may do the hell puppy at the end. I don't know. They call me Crazy Jay. We'll have to see. I'm crazy.
Who was doing it's like you get a car, and you get a car. Who's that?
That was Oprah Winfrey.
Oops.
Nobody
sorry.
we want to talk about on this show. It's
Yeah.
in a good way. But there you go, guys. CJ, Pioneer Arms USA, showing you the love. The Leadhead Brigade. I mean, nobody takes care of their listeners better than Talking Lead and Pioneer Arms. So this episode, I mean, they're chomping at the bit. So let's do it. So kind of playing off of our last episode, the PPS 43. And we kind of talked about the magazines of the PPS 43, how reliable and solid that they made the rifle, but also the magazine, really made it super reliable. The AK 47 also has that history, storied history with the magazine. So Marco, kind of talk about the history of the AK 47 mag, and I know you like to kind of give a little precursor to what came before it. So dig in.
Right.
Let's hear it.
Right. So we all know about the magazine-fed rifles or weapons, and it's often kind of lumped all into a one big category, so to speak. So the magazine-fed rifle also refers to a regular bolt rifles that could accept within its internal magazine more than one round, and then by cycling the bolt you feed in the rifle. However, alongside of a bolt action rifles, there were some semi-automatic weapons, and obviously they were fed out of external magazines. So if we're talking about some of the examples from World War II, we have to mention SVT-40 that had that 10-round magazine for a large 7.62x54 rimmed cartridge. And it was kind of, it's a heavy construction to make it reliable. It was a slab-sided, meaning there was no any kind of ribs or anything pressed into it. And of course, at the same time, as we covered in the last episode, when the Soviet Red Army was switching from the PPSH 41 with the drum magazine, they were switching to PPS 43 with the stick magazine, and there was a good reason for it, especially the units that were mountain assault units or the reconnaissance units. So because of the clumsiness of PPSH 41 with the drum magazine. And so once again, magazines for PPS 43 were slab-sided, but very reliable, robust. So naturally, the Soviets, when they started the program for their automatic rifle, which AK ultimately won, their first magazines were heavy, made out of heavy steel, heavy gauge steel, slab-sided magazines. I do have one, but I couldn't find it in my collection. So
I'm pulling up some pictures here while you're
yeah,
talking.
yeah, you could look at them. They basically have no ribs to speak of. It's got that one narrow part stamped into it just for the bullet guide, and they were heavy, really heavy. So shortly after that, the problem with the weight and everything was recognized, and shortly after that, um, the Soviets released their next iteration of a magazine, which had stamped, used much thinner, I guess, a lighter gauge steel, but for strength they used the ribs, right? So it's a ribbed a steel magazine. Now you'll find in the market, you'll find two kinds. So you have that distinct rib on the back,
The big spine.
right, and then you have the flat ones. That's kind of, you know,
Do they call
using
it a
the
fin? Is that what they call it?
fin or rib or something like that, ribbed, I guess. But that's what
Big
the
spine
Russian
on the
magazine
back.
looks like,
Yeah.
right? So Russians did not make flat back magazines, but just like that, they only made those with the rib. So now, if somebody looks at it and says, "Well, I've seen it somewhere in some black and white pictures and stuff," and one can draw a parallel to Sturmgewehr, you know, that constantly revolving nonsense story where somehow Hugo Schmeisser is actually the father of AK-47. But in reality, you could see the similarity in the stamped magazine for STG 44 and the later version of AK magazine. So later in life, when he was already back in Germany, one of the correspondents of one of the journalists asked him a question, says, "Did you help the Russians build AK 47?" And Hugo Schmeisser said, quote unquote, I gave him some pointers. Uh, the only problem is in 1952 he was sent back to Germany, released from his reparations captivity, so to speak, and and he was worked before that. He was working in Izhevsk arsenal. However, the first AKs before 1959 were produced in the Kovrov factory, which is not near Izhevsk. So, if I had to give, if I had to a kind of, you know, offer my opinion and my opinion only, I can see that maybe he gave him a pointers in stamping a magazine. That's about as far as I'm gonna go. So as we move along, the AK, in development of AK, they decided in 1956 they decided to do away with the RPD light machine gun and adopted RPK Kalashnikov design, which basically AK and steroids. And of course, obviously, the first thing that they wanted to, you know, make that gun not only heavier and with the longer barrel so they can sustain a longer fire, but also a capacity of a magazine. And because RPD fired out of using the belt, which was two 50-round belts connected together in a drum that suspends beneath the gun. So the several attempts were made to actually make a magazine, which I have one right here, which is the 70-round drum for an RPK. But it was clumsy to, you know, it's kind of, again, kind of clumsy. It also took a while to load, and it sort of was like a cumbersome, to say. So another product out of that came out, the 40-round magazine that was also stamped just like the 30-rounder, but it was a 40-rounder. So the beauty of this item was that it could be swapped in between within a unit between the regular rifleman and the machine gunner. So here's the 40 rounder. As the AKM got introduced in 1959 and was adopted as a stamped version of a AK, was adopted as a standard weapon, they started to experiment with some lighter materials for just to reduce the load, so to speak, that soldier had to carry. And at the same time, the airborne units were being issued non-fixed stock, like underfolded type rifles, so they can jump with a parachute and have a rifle on their chest, strapped on the chest, and they would not be at the risk of getting the teeth knocked out or jaws broken. So at the same time, they released the aluminum magazines made out of aluminum, very light. I mean, compared to that steel one, it's just like there's no comparison. Made out of aluminum, and they were issued to airborne units along with the underfolding rifle. And as you can see, this has got more stampings, more strength ribs, I guess. But aluminum is aluminum, it's not as sturdy as a steel.
Now, did they make a lot of the aluminums?
They made at least 7 that I have. But no, they made a lot of them. All the airborne units were armed with them or issued with them. So the next step in the development of the magazines was this attempt to make them polymer, which even added the strength, but also reduced the weight further. So it comes to Bakelite. And in Bakelite, once we enter, this particular one is Tula. And
it's Tula too.
Bakelite it's like for AK aficionados, it's like an ocean in which you navigate and you stumble across all these new species you're opening up, discovering. Like, for example, this is an early Bakelites, and they call the long necks because this reinforced part is longer compared to this one.
So where that line is, that's the difference.
And to me, I wasn't serving in the military. I wasn't aware what necks my magazines were and whether it was Ijevska, Tula, or whatever. But apparently, amongst the collectors, it's big deal. So it's
the long neck is the most sought after.
Yeah, and because Bakelite had that fiberglass filling and stuff in it, so all these patterns and stuff. So they all when I was selling magazines, they were all contacting me saying, "Can I have more fibers, or can I have more flex, or whatever?" Another thing you would notice that this particular magazine is not steel reinforced. And when I mean steel reinforced is the feeding lips, right? So that makes it very, very light. I mean, it's still got the steel front and rear latches, but
the tab,
it's not
rear
tabs. Yep. So here's when we talk about magazines, there's few magazines that are going to be like the white elephants or unicorns. One of them is this 40 rounder Bakelite made by Mollett. Well, this particular one doesn't even have a Mollett shield. It's even more rare.
They can stamp it.
No, because it's probably was slotted to be sent to some of the friendly countries. But anyway, 40 round magazine for an RPK and Bakelite.
So one thing that we'll probably get into, but I did, because you brought it up with the metal tabs, the front, rear, and then being reinforced. Some are metal reinforced, some aren't. If we could, I don't know if you want to do that as we go and point that out, or if you want to come back and we'll catch all that later.
I'll comment on it.
Okay.
So the metal reinforced. Let's see. What's the one right here?
You're muted, CJ. Unmute yourself.
I don't know. Let's see if I can show it. All right. So this part of the lip right here
Okay.
is actually you can't really. Oh yeah, you see it right there. See those?
Yeah.
The holes there. That is the whole part of a metal reinforcement plate that's stamped on its own, and then it's molded into the Bakelite up to this point.
Well, they went away from steel for two reasons, Marco. The first reason is with the polymer or slash Bakelite that you keep showing, it's because those were easier to do fitment in the rifles. Because when the AK-47s, just like the PPS-43, H and C, all of those magazines were fit for the gun. So they would produce an AK, and then that AK magazine would be hand fitted with a file for that gun, and it would be serial numbered to that gun. Now that's not saying all magazines or other magazines wouldn't work inside of that rifle, but that's saying that they hand fitted magazines to fit in the rifles for them to be able to fire properly. And that's because some of the machining techniques and stuff that we have now, for instance, when we cut a magazine well out now, we cut it out to the exact same standard every single time because we have a machine that does that. But back then, everything was done by hand. So the tolerances on the mag wells were slightly different. And the same thing with magazines. Magazines, as far as being stamped and put together, they were slightly different. So there were serial numbers on the magazines to go with that rifle. I had several of those that I didn't think about bringing in today that we had from the earlier guns when we first took over the company. But that's one of the main reasons that they changed, was because the development of these Bakelite magazines, they had more give and more flex and easier to put inside of a gun, where you could force a polymer mag. And I think we just proved that, Marco. You can force a polymer mag inside of a gun, and you can't a steel mag.
Yeah,
so that was one of the things that they kind of switched over about it, was these fitment of magazines. And that's one of the things that we have for the PPSs, because we sell the PPS with one fitted mag that we did the hand filing on to make sure it fits. And then the second mag, you actually got to go through the work to get it, a little filing here and there to be able to get it to work for that firearm. So just because you buy 25 PPS magazines online from a great price from somewhere, it doesn't mean they're going to work inside of your gun. And it's not the gun problem. It's that the magazines were actually made to fit in another gun. And that was one of the big problems of switching over, was, the fitment of these guns, because you already have a low manufacturing cost and you have a low cost as far as your employee and salaries on your expenses. But, steel and the time that you go in there with it, whereas if the guy didn't have to spend 10 minutes per magazine, that sped up your production.
It's a good point you brought up, actually, and I've seen my share of magazines with the serial numbers on them. And like you said, as the production capabilities and technologies have kind of improved, that was the case. And like I'm going back to that I mentioned in the previous shows and stuff, where a lot of people complain, oh, my gun doesn't jams and so on and so on, and that usually attributed to not to the gun itself but to the magazine they use. So yeah, good point. So anyway, as we progress through the time continuum, here come the 90s, and Russia releases the 100 series rifles. And here comes another white elephant. So here's the original AK-103 magazine.
Yeah.
So it's Ijevsk, and it's it's got the ribs and stuff, of course, because it's they use a thinner plastic as opposed to 505 caliber magazines. So here's one. And here's the latest and the greatest, which is now no ribs, just a flat-sided black, again, Izhevsk. And you can almost see where the ribs used to be. I wonder if they machine them off or send them off or something.
Yeah, you can see that.
And here comes Polish magazine, which looks similar to
Very
to
similar.
right, and it's
Now-
fully steel reinforced. So
Fully steel
slab-sided.
reinforced. Okay. He's gonna ask that.
And then, of course, that's as far as like the modern 7.62 magazines. And of course, if you buy Pioneer Arms AK, whether it's in 7.62 or in 5.56, you get these magazines right here, which weigh nothing. It makes a great magazine. It works. It actually tells you how many rounds left, so you can check and see. And they've proven to be a nice mags that work in the AKs, no problem.
And those are the same mags that we send on our military contract. So it's the same ones that are going in our military rifles. We don't do a separate one for civilian versus that one.
Introducing our new belly band holster. Whether you're hitting the gym or running a quick errand, our belly band is one of the most comfortable and safest ways to carry your firearm. The center section allows you to carry most common pistols. Left or right-handed, this has you covered. A hard laminate trigger shield protects the firearm's trigger from unwanted intrusion, giving you ease of mind while carrying every day. 2 elastic sleeves give you the flexibility to carry other everyday items, such as spare mags, flashlight, knife, or pepper spray. 2 zippered pockets run on both sides, offering the option to carry smaller items such as money, cards, or keys. Flush fit on your lower back or waist, easily keeping your setup discreet no matter how you choose to carry. Utilizing 3D spacer mesh, these channels allow for exceptional and efficient airflow, giving you maximum comfort and keeping you cool. Carry whenever you want, how you want, with our new belly band holster. Available now.
Go to missionfirsttactical.com, use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive listener-only 20% discount.
I just got this completed, Marty. I'm going to interrupt you real quick. So
Okay.
22 we were just talking about. We got the GROM logo on it right here. The GROM logo on it. Yeah, move my fat hand. GROM logo on it there, and then underneath it, bam.
Oh, look
Talking
at
Lead.
that. Look at that.
That's today's giveaway.
So
that. Very cool.
yeah, here's something cool, but we can't get it anymore. It's a see-through puff gun magazine. It's like a Russian private company that used to import.
Actually, Marco, we can still bring those magazines in. We have some of those, so we can bring them in for that we make in Poland. It's a Lexan clear magazine.
Yeah,
Hold that back up again, Marco. And that's a Russian.
it's a puff gun company. They made them solid black and a variety of semi-transparent and transparent mags.
Okay.
They were available at one point, but now they're gone. Obviously.
Yeah, and we have the capability to still make those. We have made some in the past, and we can make them again.
So as you can see how it's loaded, it's loaded. CJ would appreciate that. The last 3 rounds.
How are the tabs on that? What
It's
are
all
they?
plastic. I wouldn't
All
stake
the
my life on them, but it
You
makes
know, and
a perfectly good range magazine.
It's going off the fiber and everything that are put inside of here, and everybody's talking about, when you're talking about going in and adding the extra costs and the stuff to go in with it, as far as these tabs, we sent a gun out or somebody bought a gun to do an evaluation, one of our 22s, and they were able to break the tab right here with it. And they were able to do that by taking a ball peen hammer and striking it down several times as hard as they could to be able to get one side of it to finally break.
Yeah, it's you know, you can break just about anything out there. You can break if you put your mind to it. It's not designed for somebody hammering it with the hammer. It literally just holds the gun and it clicks in.
Well, we beat one in a gun, and we beat a 5.56 mag into a 7.62 gun and didn't break the magazine, Marco, and we
No,
beat it in there.
we got it in.
You know, so a lot of people are hung up. A lot of people are hung up on steel lips. They're hung up on metal tabs to go up in the back of. Yeah, in a perfect world, you know, in a perfect world that, you know, everybody would have a Bakelite that would have a titanium spring in it with titanium lips and a titanium retaining latch on the back of it. But it's just not practical when you're talking about a price point to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, a mode for this body alone, a mode is $35,000 for this body. And that's not counting the follower or the floor plate. That's $35,000 just for this. And it weighs about 5 tons.
Damn.
So it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to be able to do that.
And,
So-
and just the way physics is too. I mean, yes, these are going to, the polymer, the plastic is going to wear more and quicker, but it's going to outlive you. These magazines that are made out of the polymer, the tabs. Yeah, they're going to have some wear on them, but again, they're going to outlast your lifetime, probably 2 lifetimes.
And then you got to go with where the magazines are at. A lot of people are like, oh, these South Korean magazines are great. Well, guess what? If they're made with soft steel, you get the same problem. They're going to bend. They're going to shear off. You know, it's the workmanship that goes into these different magazines and the different parts of the product. And, you know, we control, and I could say this about our company, we control every single aspect of front to back. And you've been there, Marty. You've seen everything that we've done. Now, granted, I don't have an injection molding center here in the US, but I have a company that does it, but they do it off of our molds, and we use our springs to be able to do it, but they do it to our specs. Then we get this stuff. So we know we're getting this Lanzac fiber polymer, which is more durable than just regular polymer. We know what we're getting as far as our product is. And a lot of companies are getting these products and they don't know, you know, how they were manufactured or anything else. They come in a box and they pull them out and they stick them inside the firearms. And we know, as you were at the factory over there, you could tell, you know, where our, you know, what our dates is for this part being made or that part being made. And we could, if there is an issue, because it is a military, you know, defense company manufacturer, we can go back and identify all the guns that have the part that was made on that date, you know, and that one SKU that are all together, so we can identify it. And that's a lot of the problems with firearms magazines or anything else, is nobody tracks that, and they just put the stuff out there and they have different parts on it. But we have to track every single part that we make, because, you know, we're building military guns, and we don't make special civilian guns because it would be impractical to do that. That's our 5.56 gun. Everybody was impressed about how the barrel did with that. That's because it's our military barrel. That's what it was designed to do. Sorry, Marco, you can go ahead. I went on a rant there.
I mean, I'm just shaking, you know, nodding my head because I can confirm,
Those are great
confirm
points.
all of it.
So where are we at with we up to modern day?
So no, we on to 74 AK-74.
Okay, the 74s. Okay.
So the AK-74 entered service in 1974. Of course, it was adopted, and then obviously at that time, the only polymer technology that was used, not necessarily available, but used, by the Russians or the Soviets was the Bakelite. And so they immediately start producing the AK-74s, still in the wood and with the Bakelite magazines. This particular one is kind of, remember I was telling you about the fibers and all this,
Yeah.
but note there's no
No markings.
stamp, no markings. And a lot of times people attribute it to, oh, that's an East German magazine, which has a merit, but it also has it was probably made by the Soviets without markings for some friendly armies or guerrillas or freedom fighters and so on and so on. So
Right.
interesting thing. So at the same time, RPK 74 received a 45 round magazine.
Very
Okay.
nice.
And this particular one is made by Molot. The shield, the star with the shield.
Nice.
So that's
a
that's
74.
AK RPK 74. But where the real interesting part starts is when they introduced in early 80s introduced the plum furniture for the AK 74 and came up with the plum colored magazines. I don't know. Yeah, the light will probably show it, right? Plum.
Yeah, close
And-
enough.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I had when I was in service and was issued the AKS 74 that came with the 5 of this mags. But the interesting thing about it is as the Soviets were searching for the proper color of the plum, it was a variety of different shades and colors. Especially,
Was there a reason for the plum color?
I think they didn't want to go black. They wanted to find something that was a little bit more. Let's see. I don't know if you can tell the color differences and stuff. And
It's hard to tell, yeah, with the camera, but you can see
tell.
some shade differences, yeah.
Look at
You
this
definitely see that difference, yeah.
So, Marco, why did you guys go with five magazines instead of 7? Is it because you were hung up on the chest rig for the magazine pouches, or what?
No, when they first came out, they didn't. We didn't have a chest rigs, right? So we had the regular 4-cell magazine pouch. So the idea was 1 in the magazine and then 4 in the magazine pouch that you wear around your waist. Now, obviously, in the combat, see the differences in color.
Yeah.
Obviously, once we start capturing, well, at the time when I served, the Soviets were already making the chest pouches of their own. But the guys that came before me, they would take them off of the dead Mujahideen. And there was a couple of varieties. There was a Chinese one, there was a Pakistani one. And they were 3-cell or 4-cell pouches. And it only was designed for one, each cell was designed for one magazine, but it was 7.62 magazine. So the 74 magazines were kind of loose in there. And what the guys would do is they will soak this pouch in the water, in like a hot water, and then they shove 2 mags in it, trying to stretch the cell. And for the most part, they were able to do it. So they would carry 6 magazines across the chest, or 8 if you had a 4.
So what was your basic load issued as a Soviet soldier? When your basic load of ammunition?
1,000 rounds.
But you only had 5 magazines.
Right. So you had the rest in your backpack.
And then the rest and the rounds came in
this
20...
little 30 round for 74 and 20 round packs. I mean for 40 for AKM and 20 round packs, and for the AK 74 in the 30 round packs. like this brown paper wrap
Right.
around it. And
Right.
what we did was we also carried additional ammunition throughout the unit in those tin cans.
Tuna
Or
cans.
yeah, those like
Spam cans.
spam cans, right?
They call
So
them.
you had to open it up, and what we would do if we were in defensive position, we would open them up, take all the paper out, and just dump all the ammunition in that tin can. So it's readily available for you to reload magazines during the engagement.
So I got a
You-
question.
Yeah,
You
go
said
ahead.
that the 7.62s they came 20 round packs, but the magazines were 30 round. Why did
Right.
why did they do that?
that
Ease of manufacturing.
probably.
Yeah, the ease of manufacturing and the storage to come up with box size as far as to fit in the actual cans or containers that they are. Is
Because
what
even
that
now,
is.
you know,
A
around.
prime example is like, why were the booster rockets on the space shuttle as wide as they were?
I mean, okay.
Okay, the reason that the reason that the rockets on the space shuttle were the right size that they were is because they had to move from trains out west to get to Florida. So they had to be able to fit through tunnels, and they had to be able to fit on these trains.
Yeah.
And train tracks are 4 feet 8.5 inches wide. So that's, am I right on that, Marco?
35 millimeters.
Okay, 4 feet 8.5 inches wide.
56.5 inches.
Okay, 4 feet 8.5 wide. Okay, so you take the train tracks, and the train tracks go back to where we got the train tracks, or was from England, and England built the train tracks because they built the train tracks the same width as they did for their carts, and their carts.
I do not like to correct you.
Okay, well, go ahead then if I'm wrong.
In England, the track is actually wider, but was determined by the Roman chariots.
The Roman chariots, right?
Roman
because
so the space shuttle was determined by the Romans.
nope,
No.
the space shuttle was determined by how wide two horses' asses are. Because the chariot was designed to fit behind two horses' asses.
I get
And
your point.
so it all goes back to packaging and what fits inside of a container to be able to do it.
Yeah, but even nowadays, today, the ammo comes in 20 round packs, and magazines typically are 30 rounds. So I don't know why.
Because
I mean,
this box here,
why they don't fit.
It's
Those-
easier to put this many boxes into one big box than it is to reinvent the wheel, because they already have the packaging, the size, the container, how many will go on a pallet for the weight to be able to move them.
Yeah.
That's like a Spam can had 700, and for the 74 had what, 700 and
No, 1,000 and 1,080.
1,080 for the Spam can, which was a different number versus whenever you try to break it down. But the Spam can for the 74 ammo was the same size as the Spam can for 7.62 by 39. So it all goes off the size of the boxes. So 30 rounds in this box is the same round size as 20 rounds in this box. So they just kept
the box creates the amount.
Well, it's the packaging size to be able to go in it. I'm still baffled that the Soviets went with, you had 1,000 rounds, but you only had 5 magazines that were uploaded.
Not necessarily. I mean,
but I mean,
was
issued, as you were issued, if you come up and got that, they would be.
But the specialty units like mine, for example, I mean, you had plenty of magazines to take with. As far as like carrying it in on your like you load out on your on the person, it was determined by how many pockets you had to stick the mag in. But you did have extra mags that you would usually have in your RD backpack, and also loose ammo. And then on the top of loose ammo, loose I mean the packs, and on the top of that you would also carry as a unit load, load would be crates and usually spam cans, because the crate is also a weight, so you want to get rid of that. But yeah, so there was never ever enough ammo, no matter what your plans were for engagement. But you would always carry more ammo than like one time we had a greenhorn was getting to go outside the wire for the first time, and we had our after the weapons check, then we would line up, and the CO would go in, and we would lay out our loadout in front of the officers, and they would come in and check everyone's load, and it would determine whether they have to maybe add additional ammo or grenades or explosives or something. And we had one guy, we all were issued pistols, by the way, and nobody freaking carried them. And we had a greenhorn over there with the Makarov in the holster, laying on his in his poncho, laying out for his inspection. And our CO comes over and he picks up the Makarov and pulls it out of the holster and says, Makarov PM whatever 60 whatever at 53 PM 53, finest handgun in the in the history of firearms. And he hands it over to the greenhorn, says, make sure you only carry one round in it. And the soldier was like, the trooper was like, why, sir? He goes, well, it's the finest weapon for a suicide. and then kind of like yelled at him afterwards, saying, you idiot, take 2 magazines instead, for your loadout, to substitute that useless piece of gear with something that you can use in the gunfight. So yeah, so when you're humping up and down those mountains and stuff all the time, so you would appreciate.
You're muted, CJ. Just so you know.
Oh, so yeah, once you're going up and down the mountains, you learn to appreciate the shit you're carrying with you. There's no doubt about it.
Ounces lead to pounds, pounds lead to pain.
Exactly.
Grams lead to kilos, kilos lead to pain.
Yeah.
CJ, how many magazines were you guys issued?
Well, the standard basic issue for the U.S. soldier is 7 magazines. So that's 210 rounds. And that would be your standard. Now, if you going on patrol or anything else, that's what you would take with you. We generally didn't. I mean, we had vehicle and ammunition and stuff for resupply, but you generally didn't carry more than 210 rounds.
At a time, 210.
No,
versus
we had different. See, we were outside, we were away from the vehicles and stuff, and oftentimes when we would have a prolonged, I guess, raid, they would drop some ammo for us as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. When we actually in combat missions and stuff we were on, when we were separated from our vehicles or something else, yeah, you had everything that you could feasibly carry with you from your 203 vest, along with your, instead of 7 magazines, a lot of people would carry 10 magazines. You carried as much with you in combat, and then you learned that wasn't enough. And then you also learned that everybody loves this full auto and all this stuff. They like to go with full auto and how cool it is and everything else. You learned in combat, and you didn't use that little switch. I mean, if you did it, it was because you had to put a bunch of fire into a small location really quick. Other than that, everything was on semi-automatic, because the rate of fire, once you started throwing it out there, you got 210 rounds, and you hold that trigger down, you're out of ammo.
Became very aware of your round count.
It's very quick. It's very, very quick whenever you do it. So it's a reconsolidation of courses. what my job is after every firefight and everything else. One of the things I had to do was go to the soldiers, make sure we reconsolidated ammunition, make sure we got a red count so we could get our reports sent up for ammunition. But it's, it becomes painfully aware that, full auto is cool, but that's not your best friend in combat. Your best friend in combat is steady, aimed, rapid fire, not full auto.
I had an interesting experience about right before COVID. I guess it was 2019. I got a request from National Guard, Michigan National Guard, full-time unit. Full-time unit, not the weekend warriors. I think Bravo Company up in Lansing, and they wanted me to kind of share my knowledge with them. And we planned for first day was in class, which I did the presentation on, setting up the ambushes and the counter ambush measures. And then we did the next day we had the range day, and I was going to do a lot of movement and whatnot. And it turns out, so I asked the sergeant, I said, "What do you want me to teach you? Make place the emphasis on?" And he goes, "A full auto fire." And I'm like, active duty dude is asking me to teach him how to fire full auto. And I was like, meaning like effectively fire, not just like a spray and pray.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, why? And one of the guys said, I asked the sergeant one time during deployment, he said, how do you use a full auto? And the sergeant said, "I have no idea, and neither should you." That was the statement. But anyway, yeah. So back to magazines. So an onset of plum mags, obviously RPK 74, which until recently didn't have the drum magazine due to probably the same argument that they had with the regular RPK, where it was too clumsy and takes too long to load. So they came up with this plum 45 rounder. That's another one. Yeah, all like ribbed and stuff. One thing I should mention though, we were talking about loadouts just a second ago with CJ. If you were a young soldier and you were a machine gunner, like light machine gunner, like carrying a RPK, you should have slept with these 45 rounders. Like slept under your pillow or under whatever you can stash them in. Don't leave them, don't submit them, don't turn them back into armory. Don't do anything. You take those mags and you guard them with your life, because as soon as you don't, they're gone. And then a bunch of guys in your squad carrying a 45 rounders that used to be yours. They were very popular amongst just the riflemen.
Yeah.
Then again, enter the 90s when Russia went to all black rifles. And with black rifles, they issued the black magazines, which I have 3 black magazines right here in my hand. And they all military grade, all steel reinforced. The only thing is, years ago, you should be able to buy something like this. It has no markings, right? But you can see that something was probably ground out. And it's painted. It came from Bulgarian magazines, but it's painted. And if some of the guys that bought them back in the late 90s used the paint stripper and they stripped it, and it's actually a plum mag that is been painted. That's one. The next one is actually true black Bulgarian Circle 10 mag. This is still popular and hard to find, and they excellent mags. The exact copy of a Soviet black magazine.
And
And
for our
then we
listener,
got-
he's showing he's still showing the 545 mags.
Right. And then this one, it's also black and beautiful, and it's comes from military. However, it's Polish magazine. And we were talking about fitting into the mag well. This magazine sometimes would not fit into like a kit build AK-74s. It's kind of little portly, but it is a good functioning mag, and it's black. And then here's another white elephant, and that's actually Ijevsk made true black magazine that's being issued right now.
So that's current. Those are
Current
the
issue.
current issue.
Yeah.
Hey Leadheads, just here to talk to you and tell you a little bit about our product. Seal 1 CLP Plus is a bio-based, non-toxic product. It comes in a paste, liquid, aerosol, and pre-saturated bore-specific patches called sealskins. They all do the same thing, just different methods of application. The best way to use our product is to start with a clean firearm. And there's two reasons why I say that. First, you start with the Seal 1 CLP Plus by field stripping your firearm and covering the entire firearm inside and out, bore, barrel, everything with the Seal 1 CLP Plus. You'll see how easy it spreads around. You'll want to wait about 15 to 20 minutes. Then you come back and you want to wipe it all off. So you see how easy it is to put on and remove. And the second reason we say to use a clean firearm is you'll find that it's not clean. We're going to pull out more carbon that's been left behind with whatever product you've been using before. Okay, it takes about 3 cleanings, so I like to say a clean shoot, clean shoot, clean shoot, just normal usage before the Seal 1 CLP Plus has removed whatever product that you were using before and has seasoned the firearm. It's kind of like breaking in a cast iron skillet. And after that first cleaning, you will notice a difference. And with each successive cleaning, you will find that it gets easier and easier to clean. Seal 1 CLP Plus is a dry lubricant and is designed to work as such. You will find that malfunctions are virtually eliminated when used properly because the majority of all malfunctions are caused to carbon buildup. And with the Seal 1 CLP Plus, the carbon does not build up. Seal 1 CLP Plus is safe on all metals, plastics, composites, polymers, rubber, wood, and leather. Seal 1 CLP Plus is a one-and-done formulation. No other products are required or needed to clean and lubricate and protect your firearm. That's why we say Seal 1 and done. Seal 1 is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for a 25% off discount.
So that's pretty much with the 74. And then we move on to here's here's another 505 from Poland.
Okay.
Like
What was the
CJ
surprise? You were surprised about something that you were looking at.
I thought it was initially I thought it was 223, but then
Oh,
I saw it was loaded with 505. But anyway, semi-transparent. They were kind of popular in the late 90s. And then this is another white elephant. That's a 45 rounder and 222 and 223 or 556, made by Molot when they released their RPK 74 and 556. And
that fit in your CJ?
should I'll try it. I got the rifle. I can try it and see. It should. There should be no.
CJ,
the problem is you can't.
That's one of the that's one of the magazines that they were testing. That they tested and that they just changed the faller on, and that one seemed to work. We did a slight adjustment on our 556 magazine wells to accompany some of these tight mags they were talking about. We just don't want to go too far down that road because you have so many different versions of magazines out there, and the more you cut that mag well, the more you basically make the gun useless because you get it to the point where you want it to fit every magazine, and then only half the magazines that'll fit will work because you've got too much wobble and play in the magazine.
That's true. But that concludes show and tell for me for today.
That's all your white elephants and unicorns, and
there's a whole herd of them. Yeah,
there's a whole herd of them. So I think probably what would be good now, because we got close to 100 questions on our post this time. So we have a lot of questions. So I think rather than me going through and doing what I was going to do, I think we should just jump to the questions right now. Unless you have anything else to add, CJ.
I don't know. What could I add?
I don't know, like you were thinking
Stop giving away stuff. Don't do it.
about.
All right, guys. We are no longer giving away products from Pioneer Arms.
No,
now,
I said not
Marco.
not
You must address Marco now on the reasons
no,
why.
I'm talking about stop it for today. No additional. But everything else is still in force.
I just had a Pioneer Talking Lead fan pack of a T-shirt, a hat, and a rifle.
All right.
I mean, that's not too much to ask for a loyal fan in this economy to be able to have a nice set of stuff to be able
You're
to
gonna make me out
represent.
some kind of
He tells us at the
Grinch.
beginning of the show, Marco. He said, "I'm gonna do a hat, a shirt, and a patch. That's gonna be the giveaway for today."
Marco said the magazine needed a rifle. Isn't that what you said, Marco?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
You gotta match.
So there you go.
Gotta match a beautiful magazine.
Yeah,
There you go. All right, so that's what's up for grabs. Those who participated in our listener questions are eligible for that huge giveaway. That's is obviously a surprise to me today, and our SEAL 1 package and our Mission First Tactical packages. So let's jump into it here, and I'm just going to go newest first because that's like one of the best ways I can sort these. Jerry Black, we all know the Bakelite magazine is a collectible magazine. What other collectible magazine should we be on the lookout to snatch up?
Ishmash.
Anything that has the Ishmash or Tula on it, any kind of plum mags, any kind of not any kind, but let's say true blacks like a Circle 10, and of course the Ishmash as well. And look out for the 45 rounders. Grab them all.
Grab them all.
And if you ever come across, like I did back in when I was in Montgomery, Alabama, and I went to one of those gun and knife show in the local civic center, and the guy was sitting there in a bunch of like magazines in there, and I noticed that there was some orange stuff in it. So I immediately knew what it was, and he wanted $20 a piece. So I snatched them all. So any Bakelites, 30s, 40s, 45s, any plums, True Black, Circle 10, and Ishmash. Those you'll collect. And of course the aluminum ones.
And if you guys live in any of those states where those magazines aren't allowed anymore and you have those magazines, I will personally dispose of them for you. I will even pay for you to ship them to me, and I will make sure that they're done proper.
There you go. That's a great offer. And you can get in touch with them at
Pioneer Arms.
PioneerArmsUS.com or at Pioneer Arms US on the grams. And oh, by the way, I still can't tag you. So just so you know.
Oh, by the way, I wish I was computer savvy and could help you with that. I'll try to get my son to do that.
All right. Next question is Alan Schaefer. Is Pioneer the best you could get? They are regarded as junk in the AK community. Did they sponsor the podcast or something? Alan Schaefer. That's a stupid question. Pioneer Arms is a great firearm. I think we've proven that many times. And yes, they are a sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast because I don't let anyone sponsor this podcast unless I have tested and proven their products personally.
Maybe Mr. Shepard would like to take his rifle and put up against my rifle, and I'll put the 1,000 rounds of ammo out there for both rifles, and we can do a shoot off. And if his rifle shoots better than me, then I will give him $1,000. if my rifle shoots better than his, he can watch me cut his rifle up. Maybe if he has that much confidence in his rifle, we can do that, because I have that much confidence in mine.
There you go.
Can I also comment?
Yes,
on
absolutely.
something?
Yeah.
All right. So it is in a way kind of stupid question, but
It's just
you also gotta realize where it comes from. It's probably comes from somewhere. It's like, oh, I got this like rifle dynamics gun that I just spent $2,500 on, compared to Pioneer Arms. And it's like I'm in the AK community since 1995. Okay, and I not once all these different forums and stuff. Not once I heard anything bad about the Pioneer Arms gun. Yeah, it's maybe not the Krebs Customs or some, or Jim Fuller who produced this wonderful pieces of art in a way, but it's a mass-produced military gun, and it's built off the original Soviet blueprints, like CJ was saying. So everything else is variant. This right here is AKM. Okay, it's simple as that. And AKMS, it's simple as that with the underfolders. And so how is it a junk?
More than likely, he has a rifle at home that he loves that has our compliant parts in it or other parts, because we sell thousands. We make 10,000 gun parts a month. We make 10,000 rifles a month. I mean, we don't produce that many as far as assembly and stuff, but we sell rifle parts all over the world. So the other Polish companies and other companies from Europe and other companies in the US that people are building custom. So I got to have this custom rifle. You're getting Polish parts, because those are our parts are in just about all the guns out there.
Yeah. So if you know, you know. If you don't, obviously you don't. Alan, you're not in the know. I'm sure you don't even own an AK. So, all right, next question.
And you won't get to 22.
No, he's not.
Don't want you to hurt yourself.
With the expansion of calibers more commonly available, is it possible to change followers or other parts to convert a mag from one caliber to another? It's Brett Bedell.
Marco, no. You could change a 74. Yes, you could change a follow and a 74 for a 5.56, but you can't change. Go ahead, Marco.
No, I mean, just the geometry, outside geometry of magazine is different. So so that pretty much makes the 7.62 kind of like a unchangeable, right? So you cannot convert it to 5.05, or you cannot convert it to the 2.23 or 5.56. So, but like CJ said, it's the 5.56 to 5.05 or vice versa. Yeah, you can change the follower. You can even load some of the ammo, like 5.56 ammo in the 5.45 magazine, but only to maybe like 13 rounds, and it would still work, but not the full mag.
All right, next question. DJ Stevens, I have an early 2000s post-assault weapons ban arsenal with no threaded barrel. Worth it to thread or better to leave as is?
Can you read it again? What kind? Post-ban? What?
Arsenal.
Okay.
With no threaded barrel. He wants to know, would it be worth it to thread it or should he not thread it?
Well, it depends. I mean, if he wants to use any kind of muzzle device, he's going to have to thread it. There's no value in non-threaded barrel.
And the more importantly thing is to take it to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Correct.
To get it threaded properly.
Correct.
And to get it threaded left hand versus right hand, because then you would have a true unicorn if you had it done right-handed.
That's true. Very true.
Let's see. Next question. Austin Whalen, which mags are complete trash and you should avoid?
Okay, so
Which ones have you found to be more reliable? Let's just go with the more reliable. What's the more reliable ones you've used? Switch that question.
they all good. They all good. I mean, the ones they release in the market, uh, even the U.S. palms, although I don't particularly like them because they portly and they don't fit well into any kind of load-bearing gear, but they work fine. Magpul's fine. All of the magazines that Pioneer Arms guns come with, they're perfect. They work. Not once I had any kind of problem with them. Um, there's no. I can't even imagine. Nothing comes to mind as far as like, oh, this is a trash. Um, I had a customer who actually bought a rifle, and then he called me up and says, "Some of my mags work and some don't." And uh, I said, "All right, bring him over." He brought the gun. He brought the mags. He had a bunch of those Korean steel mags, and he had a trouble inserting them. And when he inserted, but just to see him do it, he was all jerky and stuff, all nervous and stuff, trying to show me how he inserts magazines. And I just told him to calm the fuck down and just slowly insert the mag in. And he was able to even work those so-called substandard Korean magazines in. So,
yeah, Marco, but he was in the presence of greatness.
yeah, right.
He had anxiety performance issues. So.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's an older gentleman, like what I mean by older, maybe 5 years older than me, but he was, he was all nervous and stuff and jerky. And I was like, that saying, the slower or smoother is faster or whatever, slower is smooth and smooth is fast.
Smooth is fast.
Right. So made him to kind of come down, and he was be able to insert him. But again, in a dire situation, adrenaline is pumping, you're over there jerky and stuff, and might not be ideal, but just make sure that your mags fit in right every time, and then practice with reloading it, and make sure that your like a bug out bag or your go-to bag has got the magazines that's absolutely worked in your gun, and you actually went to a range numerous times and fired numerous rounds out of them.
And don't leave your magazines loaded for 10 years.
That was actually a question here to do with that. Who is it? Chemo Sabi 75. He says, anyway, my question, how many is too many, and how many do you keep loaded for how long? Do you cycle your mags loaded, unloaded? Just leave some full? Thoughts on this? Otherwise, niet rifle is fine.
There's a couple things when you're looking at, if you have a new magazine, like you just got this new magazine in it, and it's a quality magazine, whether it's one by Aeona Plastics, or it's a Circle 10 magazine, or one of the US ones, or either mine or US Palm, you can put rounds in there. I don't suggest ever going over 28 rounds, just due to the fact that it keeps you from the springs losing memory. That's when they lose their spring ability. It keeps them from doing that, and plus they fit into the gun a lot easier. You don't have to try to jam the mag in there because it's already forced down. You're pressing against the boat with that 30th round in it. Newer mags you can leave, for probably maybe even a year if you needed to. But once you start getting with mags that some of these Palm mags, or not Palm, but some of the Bulgarian mags, and even some of these older Russian mags are great quality when they're made. Those things are 40 years old now. So there is an elasticity issue. There's a memory issue to go with the springs. When you start putting them up inside there, I mean, when's the last time you actually dropped a floor plate and went through and checked your magazines and everything else? Because we treat our AKs, like they're hammers. And once you start getting rust and stuff on top of these springs, you get trash inside of them, and you don't clean them out because you're doing these torture tests, your magazines aren't going to last the way that they're supposed to. So your magazine absolutely needs maintenance, on it too. You need to check that, pull it apart, check that spring out inside of it, wipe it down, and make sure, that it's inspected good. But I don't think there's a set limit on there. I would not leave anything loaded personally for over 3 years. I mean, I think and it wouldn't be maxed mag on that anyway. And I mean, I've had magazines that I found, and I know that because there were big 3-days that I found laying out on the range that still operated and stuff. After 3 years that were out there with, probably 20 or 25 rounds in them. But me personally, I wouldn't do it because you're looking at leaving magazines loaded as far as, the stuff that's going to protect your life. And if you're an avid shooter, maybe you should go through the process of rotating your mags when you go out and do the shooting with that, and then reload new mags. It's just going to help your skill set on loading, because people think, loading a mag and everything else is simple, but there's a technique to get down on it for you to be able to load the mags better. So I don't know if there is a date. I mean, what's your life work for you? I mean, is it worth every 6 months changing your ammo out and checking your magazines, or you want to be the guy that has 25 magazines that are all loaded in your gun safe to show all your buddies, and none of them will fit in your rifle, or none of them will work when you need them. You'll be able to shake the rounds out of them, because the elasticity and the memory of the spring's gone. I don't really know the answer to that. Do you, Marco?
No, I think I agree with everything you said. The magazines that you intend to use for in your gun for your life, depending on life saving, should be checked constantly. It should be maintained. It should be, don't over lubricate them. That's another mistake people make, and use them at the range somewhere, and then dust clunks up to, it kind of the over lubrication is kind of attracts the dust, and then it cakes up in it. So just make sure that you maintain your mags, and mags is what feeding your gun. And if it stopped feeding, your gun is not eating it, and it's not spitting out lead. So you just maintain it just like you maintain your gun. And I mean, you can leave it open. I mean, always, like CJ said, rotate them. Bring the first 4 magazines to arrange the next time you go the other 4 and stuff. And this will help you to determine which ones work better in your gun, which ones don't work better, or work or have hiccups, and so you put those away. So,
I mean, we in combat, we did when we did our PMCS, our primary maintenance and checks. When we did our PMCS on equipment and stuff like that, that's one of the things that we did was we rotated, magazines out. We would empty our full magazines, and we would load the other magazines and check them and make sure they're right, because, that's our survivability, was feeding that rifle ammunition. And if our magazines didn't work, then we were screwed.
All right, next question. I think you guys thoroughly answered that one. T. Hayden 83. Hope everybody's doing well. Love the podcast. We all know the magazine shape has a lot to do with the taper of the round. My main question is, why did they choose a rock and lock system with the magazine? Is it for more positive lockup, more robust design, or was it because of cost, and a magazine being stamped into a receiver would cost more? Again, love the podcast. Information pass. Always something I look forward to. Wishing everybody well.
Well, I think you have to look at I think it was done not necessarily because it was difficult to stamp. I think you have to look at simplicity. The AK-47 was designed as a very simple rifle with as few as moving parts as possible to be able to put in place for that to be able to happen. It is a good system for that to be able to notch and to put in there. It's not as free floating as, say, it is an AR, but an AR has got a lot more complicated parts, for that, the spring and the push button on it to go out, and debris being able to be caught in there, or sand or something else. And unless you actually stick a rock into this magazine release on an AK, that's not going to do it. So I'm going to say it had to do with cost and simplicity.
And also tradition, I guess, or how the things were done in the past, and instead of it, like in Russia, they say instead of inventing a bicycle all over again, so to speak, so that's
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the U.S. spent $1 million for an ink pen to write in space, and the Russians used a pencil. I mean, simplicity.
All right, next question. FPS Murdoch. Why is there a vertical slit at the top of the AK-74 mag?
Okay. You speak of these things, right? See it?
Yeah.
That's where your spoon slides on, and then you put your stripper clips in to load it from stripper clips.
Yeah.
Hmm. I didn't know that they had those. I learned something today.
I can demonstrate quickly if you want.
Yeah,
I mean,
do that.
Show it
Yeah,
to
do
you.
that while I read the next question. It says, FPS Murdoch, did the Molot ever make 30-round Bakelites? And are the Chinese Norinco Bakelite magazines actually Bakelite? That's FPS Murdoch.
I don't think the Chinese were actually Bakelite, because that was the way that they were making that material and stuff like that. That was in Europe, and we also were using that in the U.S. Actually, some of the old telephones and stuff that we had in the U.S. was a type. The old rotary phones back in the 50s were made out of a Bakelite material, because we didn't have the fiberglass or polymer then. So the U.S. and this, Europeans all use Bakelite, but I don't think China. I don't think their magazines are actually Bakelite. I mean, it may be that they have almost I can't think of what the word is, but they have a material that's similar to Bakelite to be able to do it, but it was a black, almost a coal color that they used to be able to do stuff. But I don't think theirs were actually Bakelite. Marco might have more insight into that, but I don't.
I have to put a foot in my mouth again, as I always do. I do have stripper clips, but I couldn't find the spoon. But anyway.
You teased us, Marco. You teased us. We were looking forward to that. So you can expound on this question. This is from FPS Murdoch. He said, did Molot ever make a 30-round Bakelite? And CJ said that they did. And the Chinese Bakelite magazines, were they actually Bakelite?
Yes, they were, in fact, made by Norinco.
But okay, so I was wrong on that one.
Molot, I never seen a 30-rounder.
Never seen.
Ishmash made the 30-rounder.
Correct, okay. and Tula.
Okay.
Not Molot. Okay. All right. Next question, Marco. This is from Behurst87. He likes hitting you with these. Marco, the aluminum waffle mag and my bullpup. Why are they so rare?
They made them for a very short period of time, and they were making them only to accommodate the AKMS rifle for airborne troops, and they made them for a short period of time, and therefore they scarce. They were almost immediately replaced with the Bakelites.
He asked you a bullpup question every episode.
I know. He did jam that one in for my bullpup.
Galatru, what is the best design pattern of Rock and Lock 5.56 mag? Galil, Wagner, Vril, Zastava, AK-101. Am I missing one?
The best 5.56 mag?
The best, yeah, 5.56 Rock and Lock mag. I'm hearing a noise.
I have no opinion on that one, unfortunately. Maybe CJ, do you?
I cannot answer that.
Pioneer Arms. I just answered it. There you go. Let's see. Chambered defense. My favorite mags are the Bulgarian and Hungarian mags. I know Bakelites are the best, but with tapered ammo for the AK and reliability, why can no one make a Bakelite-ish option replacement, since it cannot be anymore due to its toxic manufacturing?
I think actually the Polish mags, not necessarily Pioneer Arms, but I think the Polish mags are probably the best mags, and I think they're better than the Bakelite ones. I mean,
Yeah, Bakelite is the reason they use the Bakelite is because they didn't have a modern technology. Now, most of the plastic used to produce the magazines, especially military grade ones, have a glass field type of polymer.
it's called
Which,
Lexane.
yeah, it's lighter, it's strong, and so there's just simply no need for old 1909 or whatever technology of Bakelite.
Mustang Perry, what are the best newly manufactured, reliable, inexpensive magazines, excluding U.S. Palm?
Our magazine, they're very inexpensive. You know, we have sales where you can get them for,
Hold those
you
up
know,
again, Marco. Hold those up again. Keep talking, CJ.
yeah, our magazines, they're made by the same company / same engineer that designed the Tapco magazines. We have our own mode. They're very inexpensive and they're guaranteed. If you buy our magazine and it doesn't work, we're going to replace it. Come to us at NRA. We'll be giving some away at NRAs, and then we'll have smoking deals. We'll have them on sale at NRA for probably $5 or less.
Are they on your website right now? Because we did get a message from one of our.
And our 55. It was a 556 question one, and I told him that they were on our website, and it should be on there. And one thing about our website, you guys got to understand, is we do everything through distribution, so we still put stuff on our website. It's a little bit higher than what the distributors or some gun shops may have them, because the distributors buy the bulk of our product. But we have them on our website because of our pricing agreement that are slightly higher than you would find them in a gun shop. So if you can't find them at your local gun shop, then by all means come in and find them on our website. And by the way, we do free shipping to anybody in the military. So if you're in Alaska, you know, we do that, and it's past or present military. We do that as a service for our veterans.
Very nice. And then what about classic? Going to classic, can they buy magazines? And
you can buy our magazines from Classic. You can buy them from Atlantic Firearms. As a matter of fact, Atlantic Firearms just had a large shipment sent out there. So if you want our 556 magazines in the color that we have got them now, I call them brown, but they call them. It's supposed to be that similar to the book. That one right there, the Bakelite orange is kind of what they call it. But I just call it the brown color because it matches the woods with that. And we have them in black, and then we have them in FDE also. So we have them in those 3 different colors, but both 556, 762 mags, you can find them in all those colors. They're guaranteed. They're at Atlantic. They're at Classic. They're at your gun shops. And, we have them on our website for sale also.
And those are great options. I just got this one the other day. It's a UTM. I haven't tried it yet.
It works in our rifle.
It fits, but I haven't run it yet.
Yeah,
so.
They actually bought our rifle because we are. They bought like 20 of our rifles because we are, as Marco said, a Kalashnikov 1-to-1 manufacturer. So we make everything as if it was a Kalashnikov. We make it off that license to the same spec. So UTG bought 20 of our rifles, and those magazines they tested in. They built them for our rifles because we are the specs of the Kalashnikov. Yeah. So yes, they'll work in ours, and they'll work in several different rifles and stuff on that.
Now, this is another one that I tried out in the past. I haven't given it another shot, but I think it's called American Tactical, or I can't read the name on there. My light sucks here. Anyway, it's like a 60 round mag, and it didn't work well.
Yeah, that's the same thing in the AR with these 50 round mags and people come up with.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the engineering's a good idea, but trying to actually get it to work, they don't really do that. And you save time and effort and stuff if you just practice your reloads of being able to switch an actual magazine that's going to work versus some kind of gimmick where you've got something taped together or something else like that. I mean, if your life's dependent on it, let's get the quality equipment that's going to work. If you're going to be at the range and you want to be cool, then you know you can get a trash bag with the stuff to fall in it.
These work mag pulls.
Mag pulls are great mags. They work inside of our guns. And before we started producing our own magazines here, the Magpul mag was our compliant mag, so we used to sell our rifle with those magazines.
Yeah.
Referring back to switching from Bakelite to a plastic, right?
Polymer.
Polymer, yeah. Here's 2 mags, right? Look, one polymer, one Bakelite. They equal, right? They the same. But look, watch what I'm doing with the polymer. Okay. Oh, sorry, not with the polymer. I'm just going to take it and pull it like this on it, and then look what happens.
Oh yeah. Well, pull on the Bakelite one and see if it'll get bigger. Oh, look, see, and you pull it on the Bakelite. Now it's bigger.
Marco doing optical solutions there.
Yeah.
CJ already knew about that one.
Not falling for that. Our listeners are smarter than that. Some other ones. I mean, US Palm. I've used US Palms. Haven't had any issues with US Palm. They've got different. They've got like an all plastic tab, and they've got some with metal inserts also.
They're good magazines.
I'm not having any issues with them.
They work. I just
they don't
I'm
fit some guns.
I'm just having problem with the not to be able to disassemble the US Palm. And they say, oh, you can use the water and wash it through those holes and stuff they have in the floor plate or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not how you maintain
for the price of our magazines. It makes no sense for somebody to go out and pay $26 or $36 for a different magazine to run in one of our AKs when you can get a handful of our magazines for nothing. Yeah. I mean, we don't sell our magazines to make a profit off of them. We put them in the guns at cost, and we have a very little markup when we sell them to classic and distributors and stuff like that. And the only reason that we even sell the magazines is so there's additional magazines out there for our firearms. But we have very little markup on our magazines, and
there's a number of other magazines out there available. I've not had any experience with the X-Tech Tactical. There's some people that made some comments about those. So I really like that you guys are commenting with one another and kind of answering and communicating with one another on these posts too. So keep that up, lead heads. Next question.
I got a question for your lead heads.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on having magazines engraved with different stuff on them, laser engraved or otherwise?
I like it. I like the personalization myself. So
okay,
they do too, because we did those those giveaways last year where we had them engraved with the Cobra, GI Joe Cobra stuff, and they absolutely love those. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should get some Pioneer Arms mags done up.
Yeah, you keep telling me you're going to introduce me to somebody, but I don't think that's happened yet.
I have. Somebody didn't respond to their email.
Somebody never checks their email. That's why I operate in text.
That's why I texted you and said, hey, check your email.
I will check it. I will check the text, but I did not believe that happened.
Next question. J. Edgar Paradox. Just ordered and got my PA 556, but could not find any PA. This is the one where he said he couldn't find the PA mags on your. So we just answered that. So you can go. They've got them on their website.
Atlantic has them. Classic has them.
Classic. There you go. But if you can't find them on their website, shoot them a message, and then he'll hook you up. Flood Munitions, who decided that 30 round mags was and is the standard? Is there a specific reason for the majority of standard mil spec mags being 30 round capacity?
I think that
Okay, so if you go to, you can probably find on YouTube and go that and find a video of Kalashnikov meeting Eugene Stoner, and Eugene Stoner saying before the AK arrived, the 20 round magazine was perfectly fine. And he says, just because this guy brought his rifle into the battlefield, I had to redesign and make a 30 round magazine. And I think it goes back to traditionally how many rounds were like I think there was the M1A1 had a 20 round magazine in it. I think the BAR had a 20 round mag, if I'm not mistaken. And so it carried over to M16 rifle. But as far as the Russians are concerned, their first stick magazine, which was PPS 43, and CJ, correct me if I'm wrong, it was either 32 or 35 round.
35 rounds.
35 round.
A lot of people are like, it's a 33 round magazine, but it's actually 35.
So really, I don't know why I can't say that AK was the first one with the 30 round mag. How many was an STG 44? Let's look at it. Let's find out.
I'm gonna say that the reason most people are using the 30 round mag and not that 45 round mag or even larger has to do with the size.
Yeah.
Because once you start trying to fire in the prone position, your magazine stuff's starting to get in the way. We don't want to have a potato digger like our machine guns in World War One.
Ground clearance.
But once you start getting the magazine dug into the ground shooting, that's where you start getting your feeding problems and stuff. So I'm thinking that it has just to do with the size and the operation of the rifle. But I don't know. I know that the AR-15, along with the M14 and everything else, was an all 20 round magazine when they first started coming out, and it wasn't until the soldiers were saying they needed a larger magazine, and that may have been when Kalashnikov and Stoner actually met to come up with it. But I know that the original contract called for 20 rounds, and by the time they were in Vietnam, the soldiers were wanting the 30 rounds.
So SCG 44, I just checked, and it did have a 30 round magazine. Maybe the Soviets just copied it.
Might have been those sneaky Germans. Once again, Romans and Germans.
Always doing stuff,
Tell me about drum mags. What's considered most reliable and what should I stay away from?
Drum mags. You should stay away from drum mags.
Stay away from drum mags, period.
That is so true.
Stick to the stick.
You can load 5 30 round mags before you can load 1 30 round mag. Or
probably more than
150,
that.
150 round drum, yeah.
The A+ Vordy time limit for loading 30 round mag was 12 seconds.
Well, that was by a 10-year-old Russian girl.
by 18-year-old conscript. But of course, then it goes, A, B, and C, and whatever, but an average was 20 seconds. To load that freaking thing with the 72 or whatever rounds with constantly clicking the advancing lever on one design. On the other design, you have to take it apart and then stick. Remember how you were doing PPSH?
Yep.
So stick them all in there and then put it back on and then wind the spring. So,
Here's a question from Come Out and Play. Why was a Hungarian tanker never made in 30 or 40 round capacity? Probably one of the most reliable mags, maybe because it's only 20 rounds. Question?
I mean, it's such an odd magazine. Like the Soviets never made the 20-round magazine and so on. And to say it's the most reliable, it's like saying the kit I have is the prettiest kit in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's, I guess the beauty is in the eye of a beholder, but you know, I mean, it's very odd.
Your cat is quite handsome.
I don't have one. It died like years ago,
Yeah, he was quite handsome.
and it was she.
He was, well. Let's not put names. Let's not put pronouns on him.
According to
You
Glotru,
you misgendered my kid, man.
Hungarians did make 30-round mags.
Oh,
according
of course they did.
to come out in place.
Yeah.
Well, I think why the tankers carried them was space.
Space.
The final frontier.
The biggest thing is when they have to bail out through those hatches and stuff. I mean, you know, they'll catch on something. They wanted to make it as small as possible that they could just get in and out through those hatches. Those hatches are not made for people.
Anybody over 5'6". That's as big as a tanker could be.
Marcos. They're not made for market.
Well, I mean, you couldn't be over 5'6" to be a tanker. You know,
Not comfortably, you can.
No, I mean, you couldn't be over 5'6" unless you were an officer and actually be in a tank crew. I mean, they had height requirements, as in you couldn't be over this tall.
Yeah.
So we got lots of Bakelite questions. I think we've answered most of the Bakelite stuff. Nikolai apparently loves Bakelites. What's the reason why the Bakelite mags run so well? Seems like they'll make an average AK run like a champ. Here's another drum mag. Most reliable drum mag is the one you don't use. PM.
That's a good one.
I said that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
you
is
did
that
that?
is true. That is true.
That was-
Yeah.
You just want a patch.
I got a patch. All right. Favorite collectible magazine. This is from P-Man. Bakey, Chinese, the ones with the fleur de lis, slab mag, etc.
Tula.
Tula, your favorite collector mag?
I would say that Tula's weapons manufacturing company. I mean, if you got some of the original Tulas and stuff that they have, I don't.
I got to get some metal mags because I don't
Yeah.
have any metal mags. What are you holding up there? You're holding up the
Tula with the different color schemes.
the plums.
Yeah.
You can't call them plums. There's some red and some milky brown. Tula.
Here's a good maybe structural manufacturing question. Why weren't more steel mags designed like the Chinese flatbacks? Is there a structural or manufacturing advantage to having the rigid spines or steel mags?
They didn't, because they don't work that well.
Nikolai.
They by the time that there was a way to make a flat back stuff, you know, which basically a different manufacturing process as far as TIG welding and stuff, or you know, by that time the world moved on to a different type of magazine altogether, like a polymer, for example, or Bakelite. So just because somebody was stuck behind 20 years in manufacturing technologies, it doesn't make them the innovator. It makes them just that, stuck behind. So there was no need for any further development of a steel magazine because they pretty much were gone.
All right, next question. This will be the last question. There's so many questions here. It will be another hour. Pacific Northwesterner. What kind of magazines are you putting in your shit hits the fan go bag? Are any modern magazines worthy of it? Are you going to rely on the old faithful steel mag that doubles as a club? Basically, what's your go-to mag, Marco?
Any Bakelite or polymer, a modern polymer, like a Soviet or Russian manufacturer.
CJ.
PMag and Pioneer. I have you know,
Can
I would say mostly Pioneer because I have a metric ton of. It's what I have access to,
You got a lot of them. Yeah.
and we do, you know,
Reliable.
we do test fires, and I don't, you know, we do test fires on thousands of guns, and as you know, our machine guns and stuff that we have, you know, we fire those thousands of times here, and we use the same magazines for those, so I know the reliability of them. Because I don't, every time we go out and decide to do a test fire, I don't put a brand new magazine in. We use the same ones we have, and I don't think we've had one to fail.
Well, that goes back to remember we were talking about the magazines, like whether they should be left loaded, unloaded, and then we touched on the subject of you should be rotating your magazines and knowing your magazines, how they will perform. So the mags you're gonna put in your shit hit the fan or bug out bag are the ones that you know for a fact would work, and in fact worked in the past and worked with your gun in particular.
Yeah, don't buy something and have it sitting in a plastic sleeve and then think that's going to be your go to war mag, because I mean they're put together by people and not everybody has a great day. It could be, you know, that follower, that base plate could be in there, or your follower or your spring could be in there a little bit backwards, and all of a sudden instead of having your, you know, your 30 round mag, you've got a 25 round mag.
All right. Great questions. Great participation there. I got a question. Does anybody know who Ronnie Stetz is? Steetz, Stetz.
Nope.
I don't know if that's a inside joke or what. All right. Skeleton Crew. I don't know who Ronnie Steetz is. So there you go. All right, let's pick winners. Winners. We'll start off with the Seal 1. How do you guys want to do? You do random number generator, or you want to
do the random number, because you didn't read all the questions, right? And people participate.
Yeah, Marty.
Everybody on here is eligible except the guy who's doing the dick. All right.
Let the guy being the dick in there too. Worst thing that happens is he winds up with the rifle, and then he can't talk shit about it because he knows it's good.
Well, he's got to listen to the show also, because we don't contact winners, so he probably won't listen anyway.
Oh, then he won't get the gun if he won.
He won't get the gun. All right, so Marco, can you pull up a random number generator on your phone for me, please?
I never done it before.
Oh, you have? How about you, CJ? You know how to do that?
I don't. I haven't looked at all the questions, but I can give you a number.
All right, so between 1 and 100.
Did we get all the questions?
We didn't read them all, no.
Okay, so let's pick 762, as in we'll go with 76 as in 762.
What your number 7? Is that what you're saying?
Well, 76, or we could go with 22.
76. Okay.
76 or 22. What do you think, Marco?
That sounds good. Whoa.
One or the other, Marco.
762.
76. Okay.
76. I knew I was going to do this one of these days where I missed a cue.
And
us tongue for twisting.
What was their question?
I mean, he asked a couple. Name something AK is doing to keep its name in the playing field. I didn't read that one. So doesn't make much sense.
Well, they're all going to 5.56, but okay.
So tongue. You win the seal. Email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. Let me know what you won, and we're going to need your address. Next, we'll do the Mission First Tactical dump tray, which I don't have handy.
And I got mine in the other room, or I'd grab it. Well, I don't have an office. This is my son's office because he runs the company.
something similar to this. It won't be just like this, but it'll be something similar to this.
And that one is pretty awesome.
Dump tray. I put a little Velcro patch on there so I can put patches on there. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
All right. Number between 1 and 100.
22, like before we said it, right? It was 76 and now 22.
Okay. $19, $20, $21, $22 is B. Hurst.
What was the question?
The bullpup.
Oh, the bull. Yeah, of course.
Waffle
Of
bag.
course.
Why are you so rare?
Wow. Okay. Yep.
B. Hurst, you win the MFT dump tray. Email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. Claim your prize. All right, now the 22 underfolder GROM shirt patch combo. How do you want to go about doing that? Another random number generator? I'm going to actually do an actual number generator. I'm going to do a computer random number generator. I'm going to pull one up that you guys don't know how to do that.
I couldn't even figure out my volume, so.
All right. Random number generator. 1 to 100. And where's my screen at?
46.
23.
No.
7.
39.
7.
I'm going to even show. I'm going to put it up here.
3.
Can we see that?
85.
All right. So calculator.net is what I'm using. I've got 1 to 100 in here. I'm going to hit generate. And of course, if you already were picked today, you're not eligible.
Maybe not. We'll see. Depends on your question.
27.
Yeah, that's what I said. 23.
So there it is. 27. Let me count down on my phone. Let me go back to this screen. So 22, I was on 22 with B. Hurst. Where does he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? All right, there's 22, 23, 26, 27. Glotru. Why did the Romanians switch from Soviet-designed top-loading drums to Chinese-designed backloaders? Was his question. I didn't ask that one. So
because the Chinese ones you could load faster, but they were still crap. Right, Marco?
Oh, yeah.
So Glotru, you are the big winner today. Email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. Gonna need his FFL info. Anything else? Any other info you need?
He needs to know that a drum will not work in this. No drum.
Do not stick no 22. They don't make a 22 drum, do they? AK 22 drum anyway. I've got a 22 drum for my AR. It works really good. But here's the 22 mag. Here's what the Pioneer Arms 22 mag looks like.
Now, if he's in a communist state, we'll have to know so we can send him a 10 round instead of a 25 round mag.
There you go, Glotru. I don't think he is, but make sure you let us know. Got to be old enough. Got to be legally able to own a firearm. All the stuff. If not, then we'll have to pick another winner. But there we go. There's our winners. Tongue for Twisting. You win the Seal 1. B. Hurst MFT dump tray. And then Glotru, the big winner today with the amazing GROM 22 underfolder with the rail system on it. That's awesome. It's beautiful. Oh, and the cap and the hat and the shirt. So we need your shirt size, I guess.
Yeah, shirt size.
Shirt size as well. All right, CJ, Marco, the June giveaway. What are the rules going to be? What are they going to have to do to win the big 762 GROM RPK stock?
They got to answer the questions that you figure out that they need to answer.
Okay, lead heads, are you ready? You got your pens, you got your papers, you ready to take notes? Because here's what you're going to have to do for the next Pioneer Arms Talking Lead giveaway in June for that GROM 762x39 with the RPK stock. And, of course, the custom Talking Lead AK Corner logo on it. And I told you, these are going to get harder and harder each time. So I expect you guys to put some work in. We're not just going to make these easy peasy. The last two episodes, these clues come from, these questions come from. So in one of the episodes, CJ was wearing a sports team on his cap. Name the sports team. Next part. In that same episode, our special guest Hank holds up a book on a certain camo pattern. I want you to name what pattern it was and who the author was. Part 3. Mike, the owner of Pioneer Arms, has something on his microphone. Tell me what it is, and specifically tell me what it is of. And the final part is for this year's NRA, Pioneer Arms CJ is bringing a special vehicle to the booth. Name the vehicle and what is going to be mounted on that vehicle. There you go. Little tougher than the previous, but still not too tough, especially if you're an avid listener. These should be easy to you. And you're probably going to have to do to the videos. You're probably going to go watch the videos. And the videos are on Rumble. So go to Rumble, and I post all the Talking Lead episodes on Rumble now. So go there, or if you think you can get it all just by listening to the audio, do that too. But there you go. So for June, CJ's wearing a sports cap. Name the sports team. Hank holds up a book on a certain camo pattern. Name the pattern and the book and who the author was. Mike has something on his microphone in one of these episodes. Tell me what is on the microphone and specifically what it is of. And for NRA, and I hope everybody's coming to NRA to see us because we've got some awesome giveaways, what type vehicle is going to be there and what is going to be mounted on that vehicle specifically. All right, there you go. So email your answers to me, talkinglead@gmail.com, and put in the subject, AKK June Contest. That's Alpha Kilo Kilo June, the month of contest. So you've got till, and I'll do a social media post between now and then, probably a couple. We'll talk about it on the show just to remind you guys. So the sooner you get them in, the better, so you don't forget and miss that deadline. So there we go, guys. So excited about June's episode. Next month, you guys, you got a particular topic that you want to talk about, or you want me to random pick one of the leadhead suggestions for the topic like I did this?
Why don't we talk about the differences between tank designs in the West and the East?
You want to talk tanks next episode, Marco?
I think we could talk. I think we could talk World War II tanks.
Yeah, I do
even modern day.
Certain knowledge, but I'm not a specialist by any means.
No, it's a fun topic we could talk about, especially about what's going on with the war and how all of these tanks, how that the tanks are being improper and how the tanks are getting defeated by something that nobody could foresee back in the 90s.
Okay. Yeah, like you could buy the tank killer years ago at the Brookstone.
Yeah,
store in the mall.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's true. That is true.
But,
Okay, so tanks. That's going to be May's AK Corner, and so you've got now until the June episode to get your entries in for that GROM 762 RPK custom, one of a kind. Never going to be another one like it. Pioneer Arms USA AKM. Excited about that. And then don't forget NRA. We're going to be at NRA. You guys come out to NRA Dallas. That's, what is it, the 17th through the 19th?
Yep.
May 17th through the 19th.
Yep.
We will have a studio there. I will be out there. Evan will be out there with me. We don't know the size of the studio yet. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to squeeze in there. But, you know, whether I'm there with my cell phone and a camera, we're going to be there. We're going to be bringing you the all the action, all the coolness from NRA. And then CJ's got a gun a day he's going to be giving away. So 2 PM63s and 1 of the new, yet to be seen Hell Puppies.
You know, and let's just throw a PPS in there too, 9mm.
How many days are there?
3.
That's 4 guns.
Well, you know, whatever. Might be 5 guns. You don't know. They call me Crazy J.
That's Crazy J. So you never know what's...
There will be a minimum of 3 guns.
There you go. And if you guys haven't got it yet, make sure you go get Marco's book, AK-47. It's the ultimate reference on the AK-47 and its history. It is The Survival and Evolution of the World's Most Prolific Gun by Marco Vorobiev. You can go to Amazon and get that. And I left my autograph book of yours there, CJ. Did you save that for me?
Oh yeah, it's on the table. I have it.
The Carnivore. And Marco left me his copy of this book that I'm going to read. What was that? The
Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, by Jim Tarr. Excellent.
By Jim Tarr, because we're talking about maybe getting him on the show and talking about that book. So I got to read up on that. So until then, lead heads, lots to do for you guys. Study up on. We're talking tanks. So study up on your tanks. Obviously, the questions are going to be tank related that I post, and the giveaways will be based on that. And then do all the things for the upcoming giveaway in June. So, Marco, again, thank you so much. We appreciate you share your wisdom each and every month with the lead heads.
Pleasure is all mine. Finally, in my old age, I get to share the knowledge.
Wish you would start writing it down, putting it in another book. That would be great.
I am working on the other book, but it's like
you can always go back and listen to these episodes, Marco, and refresh your memory.
I don't need to. I got it all in my noggin.
You got it all right there in your noodle. And CJ, thank you and Pioneer Arms for making this season possible again and taking care of the lead heads. I know that they are super stoked to have you guys back as the sponsors of the AK Corner. Maybe I'll get some of these shirts made too. Some more of these shirts. Did everybody get their shirt there? At Pioneer?
Yep, you did. I got shirts to send you, and I also got your buddy. I'm going to hit up for some shirts, maybe some Underdog Pioneer shirts.
That or Scooby. Awesome. I was thinking I'm going to sign off now, but I got another idea. So, lead heads, until next month, study up, and we'll be back. Out.